What's it going to take to succeed? We're going to talk about it on today's podcast. I've spent the last 20 years studying, teaching, and coaching people to find their greatness and take their lives to the next level. Along the way, it's become evident that emotions are at the root of everybody's successes and failures. Worry and fear are the enemies, and it's time to forge the armor and earn the tools to overcome the two things that could single-handedly destroy your future. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson, and I'm a life coach, a peak performance trainer, and I'm the emotions guy. It's time to take back control of how you feel, control of how you act, and control of how you experience life. It's time to become a lifer, a new breed of overachiever focused on living every minute to its fullest. We are responsible for how we feel, and no one and no thing can make us feel anything. Emotional mastery is our journey, and emotional education and intelligence is the key. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. What's up, lifers? Michael Johnson here with the Magic for Life podcast, and I'm so excited that you joined me today because we're going to talk about what it takes to succeed, but we're going to do this in a couple parts so we can keep it nice and contained and nice and straightforward to the point. We're going to jump right in and talk about a few things that it's going to take to succeed. But we're going to do it over a few episodes so that you can just focus on the one thing that we're going to talk about today. And then on the next episode, we'll talk about another thing you can add to the list, because you can do this and you can start to try to work on implementing this right into your life right away, because I don't want you to wait for a week or go, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I should do that sometime. So we're going to take something right out of the Lifer's Creed. If you don't know what that is, let me know. Comment down below. I don't know what that is, and we'll make sure you know. If you haven't heard that, you can listen to Lifer's Creed on the podcast. I think there's an episode all about that. So we're going to take a piece right out of that. What's it take to succeed, right? These are the success secrets of the greats, right? So today we're going to talk about being response able. Okay, now let's take that first word, responsible. Now, responsible tends to have a really heavy connotation to it. Tends to be one of those words that just sort of like weighs down on people. Oh, they were just not responsible. You probably remember as a child going, you need to be more responsible. And you'd probably remember teachers saying, well, that child just was not responsible, right? And so you have all these potential memories of the word responsible. It comes with a heavy weight that gets put on your shoulders. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to help you take that weight off of your shoulders for the word responsible. And the way we do that is we split it into two words. And you know I love to do this. I love to split and play with the words a little bit so that it actually kind of wakes up your mind. And that's what we want to do. We want to wake up our mind, because in so many instances, it's easy to get stuck in the matrix of your thoughts, right? This trance state of you don't see, you don't hear, you don't feel what's going on around you. And you might have had that experience, right? You might have had this experience where there's a train coming by and it's near your work and you don't even hear it. And somebody else goes, gosh, where's that? There's a train coming? And you're like, oh, yeah, no, I didn't even hear the train. And then all of a sudden it's in your mind. So it interrupted the pattern. So you got down so deep into your mind and into your world that you negated everything else around you. Now, don't get me wrong. That is a skill. And some people need to work on that skill, actually, right? So just like with anything, there's a yin and a yang, right? And there's the plus and the minus, and we need them together to actually balance out the equation. So what we're talking about is on the other side of the coin, where sometimes we get a little bit caught up into our mode, right? Our thing. And we forget to be response able. And that's huge, right? We want to split that word, be response able to respond. And what happens when we get stuck in these modes where we just sort of delete things out of our world is we stop being able to respond. And that's what gets us into trouble. Now, of course, we do that in some instances to help us be able to manage all of the information that's coming into our life and filter it out, right? And so we delete things and we generalize things and we distort things so that the stuff coming in gets filtered and it's useful. But we do that so often that with some things, we need to learn how to actually interrupt the pattern of us deleting the stuff that's going around us. And in order to do that, we must become more response able. And that basically is as simple as it sounds, and I don't want you to get too overcomplicated in it. We could dig into the depths of being response able. I mean, huge, okay? But let's try to go with the simple version first. Occam's razor, right? We'll go with the simple version first. And the simple version is that you start to try and respond to things that are going on around you without just going brainless to it. Okay, now how can we do that? What is a specific thing we can do? Well, as we're driving, we can go a different direction. You drive on a path to work and maybe go a different direction. All right, maybe if you normally do things in a certain order. Now, sometimes those habits are great to set up. Again, we've got a yin and a yang. We've got balance to the equation. But what about taking some of those automated patterns that you have and looking at them and saying, okay, let's interrupt that pattern today so that I can get aware and be response able. One of the areas that I would challenge you to start to be response able for is your emotions, because we've done them for so long that something happens and we might instantly react with a negative. And being able to jump in front of those patterns and being able to interrupt that pattern would be hugely beneficial. So what I'd like you to try to do today, because you know how much I love to talk about the core, right? The emotional core of what it is that we do, is I'd like you to interrupt that pattern. I'd like you to find a couple things today, a couple times when you catch yourself being response able, right? That means you're going to be able to respond to something coming out or coming to you. Somebody does something that you would normally get mad about. Maybe hold back and say, I'm response able. I'm going to be response able to that situation. So somebody says something that would normally get you upset. And so you go, okay, I'm going to get in the way of that and just try to find a different meaning. That's it. And that'll help me to respond in a different way. Somebody cuts you off while you're driving, and instead of going into a typical road rage, you go, man, they must be in a hurry, and you back off and you help them get right along, moving where they need to. This is huge, right? And your ability to respond to different situations in a different way can actually change the state of your current world. So for a day, just get in the way of your typical patterns, your typical things that you do. Drive a different way, take a different path. If you normally walk to the restroom from your desk in a certain way, walk there in a different way. Do something different to try to get more response able. I hope this message helps you today. Just try it out. You can do something to just break the pattern, get in the way of your typical patterns for a day, and work on your ability to respond. There's a lot more to it, but let's start with the simple. Response able. If you know somebody that needs to hear this message today, please share it with them. #Magic for Life, #Lifer for the win. Guys, we will see you on the next episode. Thanks for joining me today. Want more Magic for Life? If so, then reserve your copy of my new book. Get your copy at everyminutebook.com. Inside this book, you'll find the secrets to attaining the next level of performance in anything you do. Learn the secrets behind emotional mastery that'll start you on your new journey of being a lifer. Whether you're an athlete, a business professional, or an artist, this book will change your life forever. Get your copy reserved today.